played in the first half. I thought we were really ready to play. We had a great sense of urgency, great energy and enthusiasm, executed fairly well on both sides of the ball in the first half, and I was really pleased with that. I don't think that we sort of maintained that intensity as well in the second half, which is something that we certainly need to work on. We can't let external factors, whether it's a scoreboard or any of that type of stuff, affect our attention to detail, our mental energy, intensity, intelligence that we play with, so that, we can continue to execute. We made more mental errors, had more penalties, things like that in the second half than the first. So we need to put together, 60-minute performance, all the time, regardless of who we're playing. The good news is we did get to play, quite a few players, and that was a good thing. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned at every position on our team in terms of some of the experience gained, whether it's offensive line, defensive backs, it doesn't matter what the position. I think there's a lot of things that we can improve on. It's great to, be home again, to play a game in Bryant-Denny Stadium with fans. Our fans were great in Atlanta. Hopefully we'll have a very passionate, enthusiastic full house, for this game. And I think it's, really, really important that our players have the right mindset between week 1 and week 2 to really address the things that we need to improve on and make significant improvement in our ability to consistently execute between week 1 and week 2. So, Mercer is, they're a little different, kind of offensive team. They had a dominant win last week. They've got a lot of starters returning. They had 3 really big wins last year. So this is a program that has really, really improved. They run sort of a little bit of a wishbone wing tee type, offense, which is a little bit different from what we normally see, which would be challenging for our defensive players. And, these guys have, good players relative to their level. And I think the focus for us needs to be on what we do and how we do it, and how we do it regardless of the circumstance and the situation in the game. So that's what we're going to stay focused on. Injury update, Chris Allen does have a foot fracture that will require surgery. So he's most likely out for the year.
Okay, with that, Coach, we'll go ahead and get started with John Zehner. John, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Saban, you obviously had Henry and Jamison both playing pretty big roles in the opener. What have they brought to the team kind of on and off the field as pretty experienced guys?
Who's he?
Jamison and Henry Toho.
Well, I think both of those guys, played really well in the game. Henry played well. Jamison made some big plays. I mean, there's things that every player can improve on. We didn't do everything perfectly at either one of those positions, but those guys are great competitors, and I'm sure they're anxious to, try to improve the things that they can do better and continue to be able to make some big plays.
We'll go to Cecil Hurt.
Coach, you went with Chris Owens at tackle and Darian Dalcourt at center, and I know there's been a lot of experimentation on the line. How did you feel like Saturday's performance was, both pass protection and run the ball?
Well, I think both those guys played well in the game. I was encouraged by, both players, and Dalcourt is obviously one of the players of the week. And I thought Chris Owens played really well in the game. Tried to play physical, sustained, finished blocks. Didn't really give anything up in pass pro. Made some mental errors. People think that, when the quarterback gets pressure that, it's always the offensive line. Sometimes it's relative to the protection that we're in. Sometimes we didn't change the protection correctly. So we brought pressure on ourselves. So those are all things that we really need to work on and correct. But for the first game out, fundamentally, we can certainly improve up front, everybody in the offensive line. But I thought for the first game with all the new guys, they did a really good job.
Okay, we will go to Michael Casagrande. Michael, go ahead.
Yes. How would you assess the running game, and also with Bryce, his decision making whether to run or stay in the pocket in some of those plays? Could you assess some of that?
Well, first of all, I think we had some good runs where we actually got a hat on a hat, finished blocks, and did a good job. I think the runners were, played physical and played pretty well. We put the ball on the ground, 3 times, which we need to clean up. 2 by the runners, 1 by the quarterback, which really wasn't his fault. I thought Bryce did a really good job. I thought he played very composed in the game, had lots of poise, made good decisions. But again, for a first game, he's going to be like everybody else. He's going to look at it and say, there's things that I could have done better. And that's going to be the focus for this week.
Go to Aaron Settles.
Given your post-game comments about Trey Sanders, it's pretty clear you have a lot of respect for what he's gone through. Just how arduous was that journey to get back to where he is today?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't be specific here and give you the extent of all of the injuries that he had, but they were all pretty significant. There was a point in time where I think he questioned, and a lot of us questioned, would he really be able to come back? And because of his perseverance and his resilience to, continue to work the way he did is, what allowed him to come back. And when you see a player go through that kind of adversity, it certainly makes him stronger as a person, but you also have, a great feeling for seeing him be able to come back and do well in the game, score a touchdown, and have some positive plays. And certainly for him, it's got to be a great confidence builder as well.
Go to Nick Kelly in Tuscaloosa.
Drew Sanders is a guy who played a variety of positions in high school with quarterback and receiver and, of course, on defense too. How did that uniquely prepare him, do you think, to be the linebacker he is now?
Who was he speaking of?
Drew Sanders.
Yeah, Drew has done a really good job for us. He's been a really good special teams player. Now he's going to have the chance to step up and start, although we've kind of rotated the 3 of those guys at outside linebackers, always starters. So, we've got a lot of confidence in Drew. He's a good athlete, smart, hard worker, plays with toughness, gives great effort. We'll have to, bring some other guys along with that position as well, but we're really pleased and confident in Drew.
We'll go to Mike Rodak.
Cameron Latu was one of the players of the week this week, and Kendall Randolph got out there quite a bit as a blocker. Just how would you assess that position overall, and what opportunities might remain for Jaleel?
Well, I think, first of all, I'd like to evaluate the guys that did play in the game and did a good job in the game. And, Cameron Latu certainly, did a good job. He didn't have a lot of experience. I think, the passes that he caught, he made some really good catches, made a good run after a catch, scored a couple touchdowns, did a good job of executing, played his position fairly well. So this is a real positive for us at that position. We've always liked, using Kendall as a big tight end type of blocker. And I thought he did a really good job in the game, especially the fact that he was coming off of an ankle, sprain. So we'll continue to try to develop players at that position, and hopefully, they'll make the decisions to do the things they need to do to improve, and that will reflect in how much playing time they get.
Go to Charlie Potter.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, just wanted to get your thoughts on the way the secondary played, and specifically Brian Branch. You talked about his versatility in the preseason. How much of a luxury is that to be able to move him around at different spots?
Well, I think that, we played okay in the secondary. We had a lot of respect for their quarterback and their skill guys, and we did a good job of covering. We got a couple bang pass interferences. Brian, had a chance to play the ball once and didn't. The guy made a really good catch, really good throw and catch on him. But, for the most part, there was a lot of adjusting that the players had to do in a game, and I thought they did a really good job of that. I'm talking about the entire back end based on the formations and adjustments that we had to make, and they kept their poise and, played fairly well. So, there's always a lot to improve on. and we'll certainly go to work on that today.
Joseph Goodwin with AL.com. Speak up, Joe. We can't hear you.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah, talk loud.
Nick, I was just wondering, with this being Labor Day, of how many recruits were you going to call today, and what was going to be the message of that?
Well, it's Labor Day, and Monday is, a big game plan day for us, a big day with our team to get started on the next team, to make corrections for the last game. So it's not really a recruiting day from that standpoint. It's not an off day for us. It's like any other Monday during the season. So, the big focus today is make corrections from the last game, start the scouting report and the preparation for the next game. And that's, pretty much what our plan is on every Monday. And that's not going to be any different today just because it's a holiday.
Okay, we got 3 more. We'll start with Stephen.
Coach, just talk about Will Reichert's confidence as a kicker and how contagious that is for the offense.
Well, I think that, the entire team has a lot of confidence in Will. Guy's been outstanding last year and so far this year, and did a really good job kicking off in the game as well as making the field goals. So I think the whole team has a lot of confidence in him. I think, I guess the offensive team does too, but, the offensive team really wants to score touchdowns. So, when they kick a field goal, maybe they're not so happy about it, but they're certainly happy for him.
We'll go to Tony.
Nick, we saw what Jamison Williams can do from a playmaking standpoint with his speed, but how much does he also open up the offense for other players just with that vertical threat he has?
Well, I think that, having the right combination of guys at receiver is really, really important. And, I do think he complements, the other players that we have because he has great vertical speed. And the things that he does well sort of complements some of the things that some of the other guys do well, like, John Mechie and some of the other receivers, Slade, JoJo, some of the other guys that we have. And, we're anxious to have all those guys continue to develop. And I think that, as we grow and learn as an offensive team, maybe we can, feature those guys in the things that they do even more so than we did in the first game.
We'll finish up with Joe Gaither.
Coach, midway through the game, the cameras caught you and Jaleel Billingsley talking on the sidelines, and it seemed like he was very intently listening to what you had to say. His father actually put a tweet out there about enjoying that moment. Can you let us know what the message is that you were trying to convey to him in that moment, and just how you think he responded on Saturday?
Well, we're just always trying to encourage players to do the right things and do the things that they need to do to create value for themselves. And, Jaleel and I have talked, on several occasions, because he's certainly a guy that we want to have success for his own benefit individually, as well as, for the team. And, sometimes when you get a little external encouragement, it can be a positive thing for you. And I think he, for the first game, I think he did okay when he went out there and played.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And that was Alabama head coach Nick Saban addressing the media after the Crimson Tide's big win Saturday over the number 14th ranked University of Miami Hurricanes. Welcome to CBS 42 Now. I'm Phil Penarski. Very quickly, want to address what's going to be happening here in just a few short moments. We will be hearing from a couple of players from the Crimson Tide. We are expected to hear from wide receiver John Mechie III, as well as defensive back Brian Branch in just a matter of moments. Once they take the podium, we will send you there live right here on CBS 42 Now. You will see their entire media availability live right here, as well as over on our website, cbs42.com. If you are watching us on Facebook, you can click that link in the description box and get a whole recap on the Crimson Tide's big-time win. Again, really blew the doors off the Hurricanes on Saturday in Atlanta, 44-13. Again, I do want to quickly go over some of the things that Coach Saban mentioned at the beginning of his media availability just now, really saying that he was proud of the team for their dominant performance, but says, of course, in very typical Nick Saban fashion, that there is plenty to improve on. Really gave a lot of credit to first-time starter quarterback Bryce Young, who had a phenomenal performance, throwing 4 touchdowns, breaking the Alabama record for most touchdowns in their first start. Mac Jones and Joe Namath previously held the record with 3 touchdowns in their first career start. And again, the Crimson Tide will be taking on Mercer this Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium at 3 p.m. We will have complete coverage of that game over on CBS 42 on Saturday, as well as over on our website, cbs42.com. And you can get all the latest updates regarding the Crimson Tide and all of college football and everything going on really across central Alabama by downloading the CBS 42 News app. It is available for free for all Android and iOS devices. One of the big things that Coach Saban did mention, though, is pretty sad news. Linebacker Chris Allen did suffer a foot fracture in the game against Miami, and he will likely be out for the year. And it appears John Mechie has approached the podium, so we will send you there live now.
You had a moment there on a crossing route where you kind of had a little bit of a high step. I think it was about the third quarter or so, but I saw it from another receiver as well at some point in the game. You just talk about incorporating that, and one of the commentators said Saban might not be a fan of that. What would he say to it?
I haven't heard anything about it from Coach actually, but I was just trying to make a play, just trying to get more yards. I think that was just my whole thought process.
Aaron.
John, what was the team's reaction when Trey Sanders scored, given everything that he's been through?
Man, I think that was one of the moments in the game that were really special for everybody. I think just all of us kind of knowing what he's been through and all the work that he's put in, and just being able to see that moment was just it was just special for everybody.
Tony.
John, how easy or how much easier does Jamison make your job just with his speed and how he can open up defenses?
I think it all goes together. I think we help one another. I think the receiving core and the offense is really complementary of one another. So we just help each other, and it goes well together.
Steven.
John, I know the offense loves scoring touchdowns, but when you have a kicker that confident like Will Reichert that can make field goals, how contagious is that?
Extremely contagious and extremely important. Kind of ensuring that we can always score some points, whether it be touchdowns or getting some field goals every time we get the ball.
Michael.
Yeah, what's the dynamic like for a receiver when you're out in a pattern, you see Bryce starting to take off, whether it's a run, whether he's going to run or he's going to throw, what is going through your mind when you see him kind of step up in the pocket like that?
It's just kind of the same thing, to get open. Luckily, we have a quarterback that's good with his feet and can make plays happen and extend a lot of plays. So kind of just get open and continue to keep the play alive.
John.
Yeah. John, how quickly when Jamison Williams got on campus did you say, hey, this is a guy that can help us right away. This is a guy who can be a playmaker for us?
Pretty quickly from when he got here, and he kind of attacked it that way, and he's kind of shown it and showed it to everybody the other day.
Nick Kelly.
John, what impressed you most about Bryce in his starting debut on Saturday?
I don't know what I could say really impressed me the most. I've kind of expected it, especially practicing with him every day, being with him every day. It's kind of something that I expected, and it's kind of just something that college football fans and everybody else was finally able to see.
Haley.
Yeah, John, just kind of piggybacking off of that, how was it to actually get to work with Bryce in a game and to kind of see how he operated as that starting guy and being your quarterback?
In that aspect, it was good. It was fun as the whole team. It was fun for the whole offense to kind of finally be able to go out there and play together in a game, especially it being such a new offense in comparison to last year, as far as personnel. But it was fun for all of us to actually finally go out there and be able to play a game against a different opponent.
Steve.
John, I was hoping you could talk about Smitty being there on the sidelines. How different was it to see him not suited up and being that captain for you guys in game one?
Yeah, it was great having the guys on the sideline, Smitty, Waddle, Ruggs, those guys on the sideline. And it was a little bit different not seeing Smitty and Waddle suited up with me going on the field. But it was fun. It was a new team. It feels like a new team. And that's just kind of what it is.
Michael.
I mean, it's maybe a little bit offbeat, but just wonder, when you came out for warm-ups and you saw the roof was open, the sun was shining down in certain parts of the field, what did you guys think about that? And did it impact anything when you guys were throwing passes, knowing that there was very directed sunlight in certain parts?
I think going out early, we kind of prepared for it to see maybe if it would be affected. But I think as the game went on, I don't think it affected us at all, or something we were thinking about at all. But it did give, with the stadium being open, I think my first time playing with it open, it did give the stadium a kind of a different feel. So that was cool.
Jacob.
Kind of getting back to Bryce, all those years with Mac and knowing that off the field he has that swagger and he's a bit of a jokester. What's kind of the personality like from Bryce Young when it's not football mode? What's he like when you're just kind of in the locker room or in public or something like that, where it's not just football on the brain?
He's just like me, just like all of us. He's just one of the guys. Yeah, I don't really know how else to explain it, but he's just like us off the field.
Aaron.
Did you notice the crowd more Saturday, given a year of not really having full stadiums? And did you guys feed off that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely noticed the crowd from walking into the stadium to being in the game. It was fun. It was exciting to have fans back and the stadium's packed again. So I think that's something that everyone at the game kind of took in, and it was a fun atmosphere.
All right, final two questions, AP Stedham and then Stephen.
Hey, John. John, what do you like about this offense? And since you're probably considered the lead receiver at Alabama now, did Miami cover you differently than other teams in the past?
I'm most excited for the potential of this offense. I think we have limitless potential. And I'm kind of excited to keep working and keep playing week to week with this offense. And could you repeat the second part of that question?
Yes. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the second part, John, since I think you're probably considered the lead receiver now for Alabama, did Miami cover you any differently than teams in the past?
Nah, I don't. Miami didn't really cover me any differently than teams in the past. And I think they kind of covered us how we expected them to, as far as preparing for them and watching them and their previous games and things like that.
And final question, Stephen.
John, I know you talked about Trey Sanders and the excitement the team had when he scored, but Cameron Latu moving from outside linebacker to tight end and him scoring 2 touchdowns. Like, how fun was that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's another one. I think that's definitely another one of kind of everybody here seeing the work that he's put in and knowing what he's capable of, and finally being able to see it happen in a game. So I think that was another special moment for everybody.
Thanks, John Mechie.
Thank you.
And that was Alabama Crimson Tide's star wide receiver John Mechie III speaking to the media following the Crimson Tide's big-time win against the number 14th ranked Miami Hurricanes on Saturday in Atlanta. The Crimson Tide, of course, winning that game 44-13. John Mechie had himself quite a game, coming in with 6 catches for 76 yards and even catching one of the 4 Bryce Young touchdowns that the newly made Alabama quarterback threw in his debut start on Saturday. Again, we will be hearing from one more player from the Crimson Tide. It is scheduled to be defensive back Brian Branch, who also had a very good game on Saturday against the Hurricanes, accounting for 5 total tackles and one of them being a tackle for loss. It appears that Branch is approaching the podium, so we will send you there live now.
All right, we'll get started with Charlie Potter.
Hey, Brian. Coach Saban talked in the preseason about how you played basically every position in the secondary, at least at one point in time. But how do you think that kind of benefited you and helped you to get you ready for the season?
It benefited me in a lot of ways. It helped me learn all the positions, really the whole defense from every point, like every position there is to do. So I think it helped me in a lot of ways.
Tony.
Brian, how difficult is Jamison to guard up against and as a wide receiver? And do you remember at all prepping for him during the national championship game, the game plan against him in that game?
Jamison is he's very hard to guard. He's fast, physical, very distinctive, and has very good route runners. And I remember having to prep against him against the Ohio State game. It was very tough. I was watching film of him every night.
Jacob?
Up front, losing Chris Allen is certainly not something that's going to be easy to move forward with. But talk about Drew and Chris and Dallas, those guys that are going to have.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah. I think it's the impact of losing Chris up front and then just, going towards the team, guys stepping up to fill in.
Oh, Chris was a good player. It was very tough to lose him, unfortunately. But moving forward, we have a very good depth at the linebacker position. And I think everybody who comes in is going to bring that same intensity as Chris did. And I think it will be they're going to play very good.
Steven.
Brian, how has Josh Jobe and Jordan Battle helped make you a better player in that secondary?
Josh Jobe and Jordan Battle, the two vets on the defense, they pick you up when you're down, and I feel like they bring that intensity, and you just want to match their intensity. And once you match each other's intensities and everybody's on the same page, then I think that's when the defense starts to cook.
Michael?
Yeah, when you see a dual threat passer like D.R. King was, like Bryce Young, when they start to step up in the pocket and they might scramble, but they're still behind the line of scrimmage, how do you react, with the run and threat option still out there as in the secondary?
Good thing we go against Bryce and Jalen Miro almost every day, because they like to step up in the pocket. And so once they do that, we match our receivers and run with them wherever they go. And practicing that we was able to maintain with our receiver and just let the D-line hurry up and get to the quarterback. And so I think that's how we maintain it.
Aaron?
There were times last year where communication may have been an issue on defense, certain games, especially when teams started going fast. It didn't appear to be an issue yesterday at all. How would you sort of characterize, and what was your experience with the communication on the defense yesterday?
I think the communication was good. We all have chemistry. We all just was able to move around and play fast. And, yeah, I think communication was better than last year's. So,
John?
What kind of what stands out to you about Henry To'o as a player, and has he stepped into kind of an important leadership role already on this defense?
Yes, sir. Of course. His leadership stands out the most. And the way he just plays and he's everywhere, literally. Very physical guy. He knows the ins and outs of the defense. He knows what the offense is probably going to run before they even run it. So he's a very good player.
Final two questions, Charlie and then Nick.
Yeah, obviously last year was a different year where you came in as a true freshman but didn't have a normal offseason. With going through spring practice and summer and the preseason pretty much back to normal, how much did that benefit you kind of getting ready for year two?
It's benefited me a lot. It's allowed me to really know the scheme of the defense, really able to practice my technique and everything that I need to know. And like in the fall camp, it's allowed me to play a lot of positions. So I think that helped me a lot in seeing where everything needs to be, whatever.
Nick Kelly.
For anyone who has not met Drew Sanders, what is he like?
Drew Sanders he's different. You know, he comes to work every day. His work ethic is incredible. He plays hard, physical. Telling you that linebacker position is really, really tough. The depth at it is amazing, and how everybody is just good.
Final question, Charlie.
Yeah, going back to just talking about your versatility, we obviously saw you at safety and money last year. We saw you at star on Saturday. Do you have a preference of where you play on the field? Or are you the kind of guy that's just, I don't care, wherever you need me, I can do it?
Wherever you need me, I can do it. I just want to help the team best as I can do, the best as possible.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, guys.